Alright, welcome back to another video from MBMRC. This is Brian. Before I get too far into today's video, there are a couple things I want to touch base with you guys on. Firstly, we haven't made a video in a while. Really, it just comes down to us being a little bit busy. The weather's turned crappy here in northeastern Ohio, as it does typically this time of year, and we really only have, small windows of flight time as opposed to when it's nice out. We've got full weekends and weeknights to actually get things done, try to make some videos. It's very concentrated small windows of time now is what we have, and when we have those, we just kind of like to fly. So we're going to try to kind of get back into it here. We're taking some vacation time from work and stuff like that. We're going to try to do some like how-to solder videos, how to cover. My dad's really good at covering planes, so we're going to try to do a couple of those types of things. You'll see in the video that you're about to see that we've been really busy building, and to be honest with you, it's also kind of a pain to set a camera up to go through all that stuff and pausing and editing. There's a lot that goes into that, and to be honest with you, it's just something we need to get better at. Secondly, the contest, as you guys know, I believe it was 1,000 subscribers by Thanksgiving. If you look down and see, that did not happen. We got extremely close, and I want to thank everybody that did subscribe, everybody that did like the videos, and everybody that commented, because that actually really helps us out. Any criticism helps us out. Just you guys dropping in and saying, hey, you guys are doing a good job, that helps us out too. I wanted to take a little time before this video started to kind of thank the people that have helped us, and I cannot do that without bringing up the guys from the RC Scrap Pile podcast. Some of you might think that I'm beating a dead horse with this, but I honestly cannot say enough good things about those guys. They're super nice. They're very helpful. They had us on the podcast. When it comes to podcast, everybody does one now. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Theirs is very good. I tell everybody it's like the Joe Rogan show of RC podcasts, so definitely check those guys out. To the guys at Balsa USA, Old School Model Works, Ohio Superstar Hardware, now this new Valley View RC. These people don't sponsor us or anything, but we're all about bringing notoriety and a sense of attention to some of these smaller RC brands. There's more than just Horizon out there. And I think that that's very important that we hit on that. So definitely check these guys out. I always have their stuff down below in the description box. Check them out. And yeah, I mean, we didn't hit the 1,000 subscribers, but when we do, we're probably going to send somebody something. We'll pick somebody at random, and we'll figure something out to send out to you guys. So definitely don't be afraid to still subscribe, comment, like, share the video, whatever you need to do. Again, constructive criticism goes a long way too. Just keep watching. We appreciate you guys and all that you do for us.
Hi, welcome back to another YouTube video with MBMRC. It's winter time here in Ohio. It's here. So we've been doing a little bit of, we haven't been in touch in a while, and we're doing a little video of kind of what we've been up to. We started doing some projects. Matthew and I are about 10 builds behind so far for the winter. But we've been doing some building, tried something different. If you ever want to do a first time scratch build, we did this plane. It was by No Roselle. I don't know if it's Roselle or Roselli. I don't know how it's pronounced, but he did this plane called the Super Duper Joystick. I believe it was sometime in the 80s. The plans are available on Outer Zone. Plane is really super easy to build.
Solid.
Very solid. I can't say enough how solid it is. We tried a new vendor for balsa wood on this. It was called Balsa Wood Incorporated. Very, very pleased with the quality of their wood. It was really, really good all the way through. There was nothing soft. It was very consistent. And it made the planes really strong and really nice. But anyway, this is the Super Duper Joystick. We built 2 of these. And you can see it's kind of a neat plane, but boy is it ever strong. We went a little vintage on them for about the time era that they were. I think it was in the 80s. Mine's got a Super Tiger G60 blue head on it. Yours has got a K&B.
Mine's a K&B 61. I think it's a Series 75, but it's modified.
Yeah, we put a mini tune pipe on it and some other things.
I'll
show your fuselage. But these planes are extremely easy to build. We knocked these out pretty quick. Yeah, you can see, and Matthew's wing kind of matches his, but
and this thing only got one former in it. Just got a firewall.
Yeah, it's the sides are they 3/8 sides?
3/8 sides.
Yeah, it's, and again, really easy to build, really easy to shape. The wing is super easy, and he has some really good tips of like how to hinge it and do different things with. Really good build article on this. If nothing else, read the article to it. It's a great flying airplane. It's got really good characteristics. It's fast, and yet it can be flown slow. We did have a mishap after our last video on the Stingray. Right after we had made the video, Matthew put his Stingray in. It was a bad battery. So that's a good reminder to folks to check your batteries. But he had a battery that it was old, and it failed in the air, and he put his Stingray in due to that battery. So we built a couple more Stingrays, and we tried a new vendor for that. I'm going to pull mine over here. This is my new Stingray. Matthew made one exactly like this one. It's orange. We made them kind of all three match, and we made these nice little wheel chocks so that the tires don't get flat spots on them. But we tried a new engine in this, and it's a
Valley View 21.
Valley View 21cc low profile. Runs really, really nice. I've flown this twice now, and weather hasn't been very conducive to doing a lot of flying, but we got some stick time in on it. 2 pretty long flights, and it's got a lot of power. Pulls is playing around with a lot of authority. Running a 16/8 prop. Tried some different servos in it. We cheaped out and we tried some of those Amazon 996 servos, and I went through them with a fine-tooth comb and made sure that they all worked, the centering and everything worked properly on them. So far, I haven't seen any problems. I wouldn't suggest using them for an elevator servo, since that's the most important. But so far, so good. And kind of show what the wing looks like here.
And they're all three done the same way, all the same kind of scheme.
Exact same scheme. You can see that. But yeah, these are our Stingrays. We did these, what, November?
Yeah. It was the day I crashed mine, I ordered it the same day. Started building it the next week. I think we got it built in, what, three days built?
Yeah.
4th day covering. There's my wing.
Kind of the same scheme. But yeah, really nice flying airplane. If you watched our video on the Stingray, they're really, really nice planes.
If you have a 4-star 120, you would probably like the Stingray 120. It's, I don't think it floats as good as a 4-star 120, but it's just about as much fun as a 4-star 120.
Yeah, and again, the Valley View engine is probably, to me, is almost one of the most impressive things, and it really runs nice.
In the Stingray 120, this here, the aluminum gear is what we added to it. The original ones have 3/16 wire gear.
Yeah, it might be.
I think it's 3/16.
It might be. It's pretty hefty size gear. And
it works. It works just fine. If you was to build it the way that they tell you to build it, it's fine. But to make aluminum gear for it, get 4-star 120 gear, whatever, it just insert a 1/4-inch block in there, tri-stock around the edges, and it actually makes it a little bit stronger than what the book shows.
And to show my little wheel chock, these actually work really handy. Brian's a flight test builder. So we take his extra foam, and I made these little wheel chocks to go underneath the axles, and they actually work really well. They just kind of slip underneath the axles and keep the tires from getting flat spots on them. And yeah, we've been busy building. Our third build was a little more complex.
Really fun build, though.
Really fun build, really great build. It's not a beginner's build, but I think if you was getting into scale airplanes, I think it would be a great starting point. And I'll have Matthew show his latest creation.
This is the Boss USA Satovia Pro. And one of my dad's buddies had this airplane a long time ago, and he told us it was probably one of the best airplanes that he ever built and flown. I think it was a relatively easy build to do. There were some parts in it that I had to really kind of double check and think about and make sure I was doing the right thing, because sometimes their pictures and what's going on is two different things, but you can kind of figure it out if you've built long enough. Probably the hardest thing on this to do is probably the 1/32 plywood over the formers. I think anytime you're going to do this, you're going to have gaps along that. Just fill it with some leftover 3/32 sheets from the ribs, or from the sheeting. But really cool airplane.
Yeah, the build was actually really fun, and it's still, the wing is still kind of roughed in on the leading edge. We got some work to do there. All around it needs, you know,
sanding.
Yeah, it's just basically right now it's just kind of roughed in and strut set, and all this kind of stuff here does take time when you're putting inner cabanes in and struts and all that stuff and getting the wing level. I was very pleased when we were done with this. I did the final measurement on the wing, and typically you could be, you know, an 1/8 inch off, 1/4 inch off. This thing tip to tip is not even a 1/16. It's right on. And
going back to the parts fitting the ABS stuff seemed like it matched up. Perfect. I mean, you can get the fiberglass stuff from Fiberglass Specialties, but I don't see the need to spend $45 on the color they give you.
No, and the wheel pants and everything fit together pretty nice.
If you have any questions building a Balsa USA airplane, that Joe Vermillion is always happy to help you out. I always message him on Facebook on there and send him pictures of what's going on. He can kind of straighten you out if you run into any problems. But that's a really good way to, if you're not sure, get in contact with those guys.
Yeah, the ABS stuff fit together pretty nice, and you can see this one here is in primer. Still needs some coats and things done to it, but it's very smooth at this point, and the seam is almost undetectable. Use Squadron putty on those, and it worked really nice.
There's some things that we added to this too to make it stronger that you read online. Yeah. Underneath this, right where the cockpit is, I guess the guy that's been flying them, I guess he's had a bunch of them over the years. But I guess if you do high aerobatics with it, they snap right behind the former by the cockpit. And his fix for that was running 1/8 inch vertical balsa wood. I think Balsa USA was trying to fix that with the gusset that they put in the corner right here. But definitely adding those, you can tell just by feeling it that it strengthened it up a lot. And that and the bass stringers going down the side make it strong too. Which those were added into the kit. That's not something that we did on our own.
But there's nothing to it. I mean, if you had a couple kits behind you and you were thinking about doing something like this, it's definitely a doable thing. A lot of people get scared off with the solder joints, and maybe we'll do a video sometime of, you know, how to wrap wire and solder it properly and those sort of things. But outside of a few solder joints and things, there's not a whole lot.
No.
And the wing build's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to do. There is 3 sections of it. There's a left, right, and a center section. And I spent a great deal of time lining those ribs and things up to get the dihedral rate. And they had included a dihedral gauge, which they said was 85 degrees, but I measured their gauge and it was actually 90 degrees. So I did add some dihedral. I put it at about 88 degrees, which gave me about, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch to each tip.
And that we had question on, and I sent it off to Joe Vermillion from Balsa USA, and I showed him the 85 degree gauge that they had on the plan and what our angle finder was saying, and he said 85 or 90, 5 degrees isn't going to make too big of a difference. So we just kind of added, what did we add to it? What was the degrees?
I wanted 88 degrees.
88 degrees.
and it worked out perfect. We're going to power this plane. Again, we were so impressed with the Valley View 21 that I bought a Stinger 26 for this. And after running a Stinger 26, I thought it's probably going to be too much. They powered theirs with a Zenoa G23?
G22.
23.
Or, yeah.
Anyway, they said it, worked out fine. And I looked at the horsepower of it, and it's not I know it's a very reliable engine, but it's not a high horsepower engine.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. And the Valley View 21 is extremely light, and it produces 2.6 horse. And I think the G23 was 1.7 or 1.9. Yeah. So I wanted to stay kind of around in that range. So I know some guys have put Sato 180s in these, which that's like a 2.8 horse engine. So I'm just trying to keep the horsepower close to, because it really, for a quarter scale airplane, isn't real big.
No, it's 80-inch span, 54-inch fuselage. The tail surfaces are rather large, actually.
Yeah, it's got a lot of surface area to it. Pretty thick airfoil. It's a semi-symmetrical wing. It's, from what I've seen and what I've heard, a good friend of mine told me that this was the best flying airplane he ever had. So we're going to see. So far, I'm really liking it.
And we'll have our next build is his, and I'm not going to tell him what it is yet. He thinks he knows. Came from Boss USA.
Just so we clarify this, because I think I know. I think the next build you'll see is the Smoothie XL, if I'm right. But yeah, we'll keep you posted, and hopefully get some flight videos up here. I'd like to show off
on the Super Duper Joystick.
Yeah, we got to do the Super Duper Joystick.
Show off the two Stingray 120s yet, and hopefully we'll have a video of this once it's covered.
The other thing I just wanted to touch base on real quick, after Matthew's crash with his Stingray, we had some engine issues with his DLE 20. This engine has always ran flawless, and had some issues with it dead sticking and just randomly quitting. And if you want to know a lot about these little carburetors, the Walbros, which I've dealt with for many, many years, and really, when I had a problem with them, I just disposed of them and got another carburetor. But in this case, I thought, you know what, I'm going to tear it apart and get into it. And I'm looking at everything. I don't see any passages or anything blocked. I understand how it works. I understand the pump, pulse cycles, things like that. And I understand what it does. But go to Walbro's site, and they have a video on there that actually goes through how to set one of these up properly. Very informative video, and it's done by Walbro. They show how to set the height for the needle that operates the diaphragm. It's like a needle and seat. It would be in an old carburetor, but they show how to set the proper depth, and they have all kinds of little tools and things that you can use to work on these. But at any rate, their information, I revealed that the actual plunger rod in this was bent, and it must have happened during the crash, because we've never had any issues with this engine. So just recently I had this out of his and did some work to it. It appears to be running much better. We'll get it back in the plane and see what it does. But if you ever have a question on any of these Walbro carburetors, go to their site. They have some videos, and they're very informative.
And that's the other thing. Valley View handles DLE. They handle their own engines. They have a bunch of accessories. They have fuel tanks. You have the Valley View fuel tank in your Stingray.
Awesome fuel tank.
It's got the little filter inside the tank.
The Walbro cloth felt filters.
It seems like we have really good accessory switches, smoke systems.
Their service, if you order something from Valley View, and we have, I think Matthew's had 2 orders. I've also had 2. But what we found is you place the order, and about 20 minutes, maybe half hour later,
and it shipped.
It shipped.
And if you are a VIP member, I got the VIP discounts, and I've already I've already paid for my membership.
Yeah, just with the discounts you've got, yeah.
But you get free shipping. What's the percentage that you get off? Is it
I think it's 12%.
12%?
Yeah, I think so.
Which is, I mean, if you're ordering stuff up and you see the total at the end, you're like, well, that's not much. But as soon as it goes through, you save quite a bit of money. And you get a free shirt out of it. So.
Yeah, if you're looking at a Balsa USA kit, they have a deal going where if you put in as a gift code, holiday code.
Yeah, you get 10% off any kit.
10% off any kit, and I think it's good till
I think the 1st
of January. So if you're looking at a Balsa USA kit, definitely look into punching in holiday code.
Which, I mean, Balsa USA has a ton of airplanes to choose from. They got the sport planes, they got the Phaetons, they got the Smoothies, the Excaliburs, they got all their World War I, II.
Yeah.
They have civilian planes like that.
They got a good company.
They got a ton of stuff, and they're glad to help you. Good quality stuff. The wood is really, really good quality.
You know, I've had to call there a couple times. They've always been super, super nice people. So that's what we've been up to, and it is winter, and we're going to continue to build, and hopefully we catch up on some of our builds. Maybe get a little flying in between.